listening to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. I'm your Tuesday-Thursday show host, Skylar Agus Barker. We've got a great show coming up with some information about Taylor Howard recounts how Japanese-American soldiers helped turn the tide of World War II, and Kaylin Fox Thomas reporting on the DEI ban. And don't touch that dial because J. Taylor Wright will share some things that you don't want to miss. You're listening to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mississippi Beverages. Mississippi Beverages provides water, water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mississippi Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mississippi Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online.
Regresando a la escuela, sí tenía miedo, porque yo tenía pensamientos que no sabía si iba a poder hacerlo.
A los 47 años, Marco obtuvo su high school diploma.
Nunca es muy tarde para obtenerlo.
Nadie obtiene un diploma solo. Si estás pensando en obtener tu high school diploma, puedes recibir ayuda. Encuentra clases gratis para adultos cerca de ti en completatudiploma.org. Repito, completatudiploma.org. Presentado por la Dollar General Literacy Foundation y el Ad Council.
Welcome back to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. In USM campus news, Southern Miss English professor releases new poetry collection. Dr. Olivia Claire Friedman has launched a new collection of poems titled An Arm Fixed to a Wing, which celebrates being fully present while acknowledging the fleeting nature of time. Within the book, the narrative pieces titled Camera Poems. Within the book are narrative pieces titled Camera Poems, which explore themes of isolation, hopefulness, and self-awareness. Other poems also examine motherhood with the excitement and novelty it brings. When asked about the inspiration behind An Arm Fixed to a Wing, Dr. Friedman states, an exploration of both grand and intimate ideas, all large and small things at once. That's how I think of poetry. I'm thinking about the significant, eternal questions, and I'm thinking about the small daily tasks of life. Themes such as nostalgia, spirit, motherhood, and the profound meaning we find in our surroundings are central to the book's emotional depth. When asked about what the readers hope to take away from the book, Dr. Friedman states, I hope readers have emotional experiences while reading, whatever the poem calls up for them. I believe that in even a single line, image, or sound can spark something meaningful in the reader. Recent feedback from friends reflects this goal, as they've shared how specific poems from the book resonated deeply within them. That emotional attachment from the reader, even to just one poem, is my hope. In Hattiesburg news, Pine Belt Blueways hosts Earth Day cleanup. On Tuesday, the Pine Belt Blueways hosted its second annual Earth Day cleanup. Over 60 people gathered at the Glendale Avenue boat ramp to help clean up the Pine Belt. Volunteers arrived with kayaks, canoes, and trash bags to clear out litter along the riverbanks and in the water. Pine Belt Blueways Sean Harris states this about the event. It's Earth Day, so everything we do today should be about nature. So we're at the Glendale Avenue boat ramp. There's a check dam here, and that dam is actually where the Gulf sturgeon, which is endangered fish. In the entire Pascagoula River system, that's the only place where they spawn. So it's an endangered fish, and its eggs are right there. So we take this pretty seriously, where we got to get the trash and the litter off of this boat ramp and out of the river, because we don't want to impact that fish any more than it already is. In Mississippi news, 18-wheelers speeding, illegal passing, a growing concern in Perry County. Speeding and illegal passings are recent concerns that the law enforcement at Perry County is trying to address. Sheriff Jacob Garner states this about the issues. We've had speeding complaints disregarding stop sign complaints, disregarding traffic devices complaints. Last year, we had one almost hit a kid when the kid was getting off the bus. They had to take the ditch to help avoid getting hit by the bus. We made traffic stops on some of them committing these violations. We've issued these tickets and a lot of warnings. Most drivers are only charged misdemeanors, which only requires them to pay a fine. Multiple offenses can earn drivers points on their license, which can hurt them insurance-wise. In national news, a permanent memorial for Bourbon Street attack victims is coming to New Orleans. Governor Jeff Landry announced that the creation of a new commission tasked with developing a permanent memorial in New Orleans to honor the victims of the January 1st terrorist attack in the French Quarter. After the attack, there are several makeshift tributes and memorials that sprung up in the French Quarter before it was moved to a museum to protect from the elements before Mardi Gras. Governor Jeff Landry goes on to say this about the attack. This senseless act of violence has shattered lives and shaken our state. We grieve with the families and friends of the victims and stand united in our resolve to remember and honor them. Through a permanent memorial, we will honor their lives and create a lasting place of remembrance, resilience, and unity for years to come. We'll be right back with sports and weather after a word from our sponsors.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mississippi Beverages. Mississippi Beverages provides water, water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mississippi Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mississippi Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force, and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakimick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. Now on for your sports. Southern Miss Athletics has some announcements. Your Southern Miss Lady Eagles softball team is back at the Southern Miss Softball Complex this weekend. Senior weekend and the last chance to see the Lady Eagles on the diamond. Friday's game will start at 6 p.m., Saturday's game will begin at 2 p.m., and Sunday's game will begin at 11 a.m. 2025 football season tickets are now on sale to the general public. Guarantee your seat for the Mississippi State and Jackson State by purchasing your season tickets today. Season tickets start as low as $99, and we offer fan-friendly payment plans up to 4 months. To keep up with all the Golden Eagle sports activities, head on over to southernmiss.com. Now on for your weather. We had some light fog earlier this morning, but now our skies are partly cloudy. There's a 40% chance of a rain, so keep an eye out for that. Our highs are in the 80s and our lows are in the mid-60s. Friday is looking warm and humid with a 30% chance of showers. Highs will be in the mid-80s and lows to the lower 60s. Saturday is going to be mostly sunny with highs in the upper 80s and lows in the mid-60s. Sunday has a 20% chance of showers or a thunderstorm with highs in the upper 80s to near 90s and lows in the mid-60s. Up next, we have Taylor Howard recounts how Japanese American soldiers helped turn the tide of World War II. Check it out.
This is Mississippi Moments, produced by the Center for Oral History and Cultural Heritage at the University of Southern Mississippi and supported by the Mississippi Humanities Council. I'm Bill Ellison. During World War II, German forces inflicted heavy losses on the 92nd Infantry Division in northern Italy. Taylor Howard recounts how a regiment of Japanese American soldiers helped turn the tide.
The Germans entrenched themselves in this mountain right above Banner de Luca, and we were attempting to advance and go over the mountains. And after each company's attempt to knock the Germans off of this mountain, we lost 90% of both companies. And it got so bad that we had to try to hold. We couldn't go any further. We needed more reinforcement. So the Normandy invasion happened in 44. That released the 442nd, which was a Japanese-American unit, and the 669th Light Tank Battalion, which was a black unit. And so we, in a holding position, allowed the 442nd to attack through our line. The Japanese Americans attacked, and they were able to overcome all of the Germans that were left in the mountains. They either killed or captured.
Bill Ellison hosts Voices of Our People World War II, a new podcast from Mississippi Moments, sponsored by the Mississippi Humanities Council. That's Voices of Our People World War II, wherever you get your podcasts.
That was Taylor Howard. Coming up, we've got a special guest that you don't want to miss.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mississippi Beverages. Mississippi Beverages provides water, water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mississippi Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mississippi Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online. Sponsorship comes from American Graphics. Located at 8 Commercial Warehouse Drive in Hattiesburg, American Graphics provides custom screen printing and embroidery. They can be reached by phone at 601-602-2277. And the website is goamericangraphics.com. American Graphics, printing at its finest.
Welcome back to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. Now, please give a warm Golden Eagle welcome to J. Taylor Wright. Hey, how are you?
Hey, Skylar, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
So, first and foremost, for anyone who doesn't know you, we had you as a guest before, but just in case these listeners forgot or any new listeners are tuned in, can you tell us about yourself?
Yeah, my name is J. Taylor Wright. I'm from Dallas. I've been a working professional equity actor for the past 10 years or so, and I just came to Hattiesburg in January, mid-year, to start my graduate program as a theater director in our master's program at the theater department.
Wow,
yeah,
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And how would you rate your experience here at USM?
It's been fun. Busy, but it's been fun. Yeah,
that's great. So I understand you're part of the graduate directing studio. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so that's a part of our curriculum. It's a requirement for us to graduate, and each semester we have a studio. It's where only the graduate directors, those candidates, are in there, and we work on scene study. So this semester, for example, we started with Shakespeare. So we did some scenes from shows like Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet, Julius Caesar, Pericles. And then halfway through the semester, our mentor, Matthew Ernest, decided that he wanted us to put up a one-act play. So 40 to 50-minute production, fully realized and produced, that we could show for our showcase at the end of the semester.
Okay.
And our director, our head of our directing program, Matthew, he was our director of The Book of Will in the fall, if any of you saw that. And then he's opening tonight as the director of, it's an adaptation of Sense and Sensibility by Kate Hamill.
Yeah.
We have that opening night here at the Hartwig, 7:30 tonight. So if you're not doing anything, come bring your ID and get a ticket.
Awesome, fantastic.
Yeah.
Sense and Sensibility is such a treat for USM students.
Yeah, and it's not the one you know, so I'll just leave it at that and let people come find out about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if that mystery piques your interest, make sure to tune on in today. So the main event, there's 2 one-act plays that are going to be performed. Can you tell us about them?
Yeah, so we got in conversation with Professor Ernest and kind of started throwing some ideas out here and there. And me and my other colleague in the cohort, Benji Stockton, we settled on 2 plays. Benji settled on a play called Request Concert. It's by a German playwright, Franz Xaver Kreutz, starring Jory Tanaka. And that show's about a middle-aged woman who arrives at her apartment at the end of the day where she lives in solitude. Her life is overtaken by capitalism and socialism. She quietly navigates through her evening routine, which includes preparing dinner and cleaning. It's a monodramatic show, so for those that don't know that, it just means one person is up in the room, no scene partners or anything, and there are no words in the entire show.
Wow.
So she's searching for a distraction in the show, and she tunes into a radio program, and she's visibly depressed. She speaks to no one, and not even herself. And as the night progresses, she succumbs to a certain fate. So I won't say anything else other than that. You'd have to come see. And then my show that I'm putting up is called No Exit. It was written in the 40s by a French philosopher, playwright, novelist, writer, Jean-Paul Sartre. I'm sure that some of us have heard about Mr. Sartre in any of our, psych classes or anything like that. But the play is about three people who enter a room in the afterlife. It's a post office clerk, a woman of high society, and a man who runs a pacifist newspaper during wartime. And as the play progresses, they realize they're in hell, and their shielded truths open up and reveal a more transparent view of one another. They get under each other's skin and try to reckon with where they are.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it was a about 90-minute play, and I kind of had to cut the script into something that was going to be appropriate for the presentation. So we'll present them in our class times, 11 to 12:15 on Tuesday and Thursday by themselves, and then that Thursday evening at 6 o'clock at the Woods Theater in the Theater and Dance Building. It's free admission, so come by and see. But we'll present Benji's Request concert, and then my No Exit right after that. So it'll be an hour, and then a little 15-minute interval, and then another hour or so.
Right.
Yeah, it'll be a fun evening of theater for free, which is hard to argue with. So everybody come on out and see what's up.
I mean, what's better than entertainment than free entertainment?
I know, right? I'm with you, Skylar.
And No Exit sounds so interesting. It almost kind of reminds me of like the book I Have No Mouth, But I Have to Scream.
I don't know what that is, but I'm glad I have my computer out and I will write that down. I have no mouth.
I have no mouth, but I must scream.
But I must scream.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm interested.
It was turned into a radio play, and it's about all these people that are stuck in like this purgatory, and there's like this AI like mastermind that's like guiding them through their deaths. And it's going into like this entire mess of like what can like be recognized as human and what can be recognized as like AI or like artificial, and like how much power should we put into that.
That's super interesting.
Yeah.
That's super interesting. Yeah, No Exit kind of deals with ideas. I don't want to speak to Benji's show because Benji isn't here. He's doing something else at the zoo. It's another, kind of press moment. But for No Exit, it's really dealing a lot with, he wrote this post-World War II, right? And after, the occupation of the Nazis in the city of Paris. And it's a lot about perception and identity and duty of self, like how do we exist, and like how our perceptions of others actually influences their character, we judge ourselves based on how other people see us, and we judge ourselves for who we are. It's really dense, it's really heady, and I'm in rehearsal right now, and it's been interesting trying to parse through all of what we're talking about with it, but it's definitely not boring, I will say that. These three characters are really, he's a philosopher and a psychologist, and like this guy Sartre is, but he's a brilliant literary writer, so he really does know how to build character. They're three very interesting people with very interesting stories that they don't necessarily throw out there of their own will. They kind of provoke and prod each other into like being 100% truthful with one another, and they realize, and it's a very iconic line, people know it from the show if you're familiar, but at the end of the show, there's a realization hell is other people. Yeah. So if that makes it if that piques any more interest, then that's a good thing, I think. But yeah,
absolutely.
So No Exit's dealing with.
That's absolutely. And with you being a director for this show, what type of like struggles or what type of like inspirations did you have to put this all together?
I'm really inspired right now by Bertolt Brecht, who was another German theater maker. Kind of around the turn of the 20th century and a little bit further into the early 1900s, and he deals with this idea about alienating the audience so that it kind of encourages them to not be a participant in the show, but to be a real observer, to give them a subjectivity and an objectivity option, so it really, I've been excited and inspired by like what it means to be an actor and what the role of an actor is in building a world out for people, as opposed to the curtain coming up and you're just already in that world. How can the actor encourage and punctuate what the world is that the show is going to be? So there's a little bit of spectacle in that regard for the show. And I've just been inspired actually by the way that our graduate studio works. We're not really encouraged to focus on technical elements of the show, but to focus on the actors' work and the storytelling as like the most important thing, of piece of the puzzle of what we're doing. But I do think that there's something to, I love the wood space. I think it's an incredible place to, so I'm inspired by that space in the first place, and the scene work that we've done in there so far. So it's fun to kind of stretch a little bit more into a full, you know, beginning, middle, and end production, as opposed to just a little slice of life of a play.
Right.
So that's all been fun. And then my 3 actors also inspire me greatly. That's a really big point of interest for me whenever it comes to working with actors, is figuring out how to really provide a true sense of collaboration and let their impulses kind of guide me more so than me, you know, dictating and mandating whatever I want.
Right.
Now there is some of that in there. If they're listening, they're probably going to be like, yeah, he dictates a little bit. But yeah, I do want to, you know, you can't ignore what people bring into the room. So I want to be able to work with that, and you know, that mutability is really important, I think, to be a director on stage.
Absolutely. And with this show that you're directing, what would you say, without spoiling the show for people, what would you say is your favorite moment?
Ooh la la. My favorite moment. I would say my favorite moment is the chalk and the canvas.
Interesting.
I tried to say it as wide open as possible,
Yeah,
and not
no,
kind of get
I
the
like
chalk
it.
and the canvas. I think those are 2 of my favorite moments of
It's
the
so
show.
ambiguous. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
ambiguity. Good. We can't give it all away, Scott.
Absolutely. We can. We have to have people enjoy this show.
Yeah. And lean into it without knowing too much about it. I think that would be a fun piece.
Exactly.
For folks coming to see it.
Yeah. Well, that's so exciting to have people to have the ability to dig their teeth into these 2 short, like 1-act plays.
Yeah.
And I know that it's becoming like close to the end of the semester. How are you feeling?
Great. I'm feeling good. It kind of feels like staring down the barrel a little bit, but it's just push. It's that, like, if you want to make your mile time, you got to stay consistent or push through that last lap. So I think that's really where I'm at right now. But shout out to all the rest of the grad students on campus, and in the undergrads too, right? To finishing out the semester. Just do it strong. You won't regret it. Just keep going. We're almost there.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So with this graduate directing studio, or else being a part of the USM Theater as a graduate student, for graduate students interested in theater, is there a process for them to join that graduate directing group?
That studio is only for the applicants that are candidates for the directing MFA.
Right.
So there are other opportunities for you to get involved with the theater department. They'll just come by the theater and dance front office.
Yeah.
Somebody will be in there, and we can talk to you about auditions and anything like that. I'm pretty sure that our season auditions, now I'm new, so I don't want to say anything out of pocket, so that's my disclaimer right there, right? But anybody who wants to get involved in audition for a production is more than welcome to come to our semester auditions at the beginning of each semester.
Right.
Yeah, so that should be sometime late August.
Well, great. That sounds like a great opportunity.
Yes.
And this final question do we have before we can close out. What type of advice do you have for our graduate students, especially during the last moments of the spring semester?
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
I know, especially for those, because I got my undergrad years ago, and my senior year was kind of I'm ready to go, and I didn't stay too present. So yeah, I would just say stay present and enjoy it, because we don't get this time back. And make your mark as best as you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else that you want to share with our listeners before we close out?
I do. I want to shout out to the actors who are agreed to doing these projects for the directing studio. So that's Marshall Robertson, Jory Tanaka, Madeline Besezi, and MC Jones. They rehearsed these shows in less than 3 weeks. So that's just a big shout out to their dedication and their commitment to it. And I also want to give a shout out to New Era Theater, which is run by some of the kids that are in our department, undergrads. They're doing a production. It's called A Cabaret. It's at Studio 522, so that's downtown near Sincerely Grocery. I'm sad to say Sincerely Grocery is shutting their doors, but go in, they're liquidating everything, and it'll be cheap. But May 1st through the 3rd for New Era Theater Cabaret, it's at Studio 522. That's doors at 6:30, shows at 7, and then they're doing a show at Fat Cat on May 10th, same time. And I guess in closing, support local artists and small businesses, or you're going to watch your community's economy go to crap.
Yeah, absolutely.
So support your people. Support your people.
Yeah, what powerful words to end on. Thank you so much, Jay Taylor Wright, for coming on today and providing a voice for our Eagles.
For sure. Thanks for having me, Skylar.
Coming up, we've got Kaylin Fox Thomas reporting on the DEI ban. Check it out.
Mississippi legislators have approved of a DEI ban for all public K-12 schools and universities like Southern Miss. Students of USM's NAACP and Afro-American Student Organization came together to hold the In Their Shoes protest march against the DEI ban on April 11th.
So we started this because we wanted to make a change on campus. We wanted them to know that we're not going to let them steamroll us. We're not going to conform to assimilation or anything like that. There's not really that much representation of us out at USM, and we want incoming students to know that we are here and we are fighting.
Dr. Andrew Wiest, a longtime history professor here at USM, shares his uncertainty about how this bill, if passed, could affect him.
To be frank, I don't know how it will impact me personally. Just from an outside reading of it, it looks really restrictive on what I could teach. You know, the history of women, that's in there. The history of civil rights, that's certainly in there. It's part of what happened, and I'm supposed to teach what happened.
This bill leaves many students worried about their education and future here at Southern Miss. Kaylin Fox Thomas, SMTV.
Thanks for listening to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. Huge thanks to Seb Hodges, our audio engineer, and Meadow Smith, our video engineer, for keeping this bird flying. Big shout out to our assistant producer, Sam Romeo, and our program director, Adeline Fields, as well as our executive producer, Ore Ide, and our GM, Dr. Wilbur Martin. Don't forget to follow SM2 Media on social media. I'm your Tuesday, Thursday show host, Skylar Angus Barker. Stay golden, Eagles.